December 18th, 2012, and this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Dublin-San Ramon Services District Board of Directors. Presiding this evening is President Rich Halkett.
Thank you, Nancy. All right, call to order. Item 2, pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Item 3, roll call, please.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Duarte.
Here.
Director Von Peter Leopold. Here. Vice President Benson. Here. President Halkett.
Here. Item 4, special announcements and activities. President Halkett, I think we already had the special activities before the board meeting, and congratulations to newly elected Director Duarte and re-elected Directors Howard and Halkett. Thank you very much. 4 more years. All right, item 5, public comment. This is the open comment period of the meeting. We have a public here, but I don't have blue cards. I have a blue card. I have a blue card. Is it for open comment or is it for an item?
It's for public comment.
Awesome. Then why don't you avail yourself of the public comment area? Welcome.
Welcome.
Well, I wanted to congratulate the directors on their re-election, the 2 directors, and I wanted especially to congratulate and to welcome Director Duarte, who is now bringing back the San Ramon to the Dublin-San Ramon Services District. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All righty. Please pass that, Secretary. Okay, item 6A, reports by General Manager and staff. Yes, President Halkett, members of the board, I have a few administrative items for you, but before I get into those, I'd like to ask Dan Gallagher to brief you very quickly on a couple of incidents we had over the last 10 days or so regarding what we call SSO, sanitary sewer overflows. These are our first we've had in a number of years, and it's kind of unusual that we had 2 back-to-back, but Dan can fill you in on the reasons for those.
Thanks, Fred. It's been a busy couple of weeks, but the first overflow happened on Saturday, December 8th in the morning, and it occurred out at Fallon Road and Cydonia Court, which is out in the northeast corner of the city, right close to the corner of where Fallon Road and Tasahara Road come together. There, what happened, construction contractor decided to flush some brand new fire hydrants, and he was flushing them into a sanitary sewer manhole. It overloaded the sanitary sewer, and the sewer overflowed at the corner of Fallon Road and Cydonia Court. And the water that came out of the manhole ran into a storm sewer, then followed the storm sewer for about a mile until it discharges into Tasahara Creek. We caught it fairly quickly after it got reported. Actually, San Ramon Fire was the first responder on the scene. They quickly called our folks. We got out there. We shut the water off to the area under development, and that stopped the overflow. But about 18,000 gallons of water were lost out of that manhole, and all of it went into the storm sewer and into the creek. We weren't able to capture any of it. We had to report that as a sanitary sewer overflow because even though it was drinking water, it came in contact with a live sewer that serves about 25 or 30 homes that have been recently built out there. So brand new sewer pipe, and that occurred on Saturday again, December 8th. Then just yesterday we had another sanitary sewer overflow. This one happened at Pepper Tree and Sarah Court. It's in the western side of Dublin, close to Pepper Tree and Silvergate. There we had a grease plug up. The sanitary sewer line caused it to overflow at a manhole. and we estimate about 2,650 gallons of raw sewage escaped from the manhole, went into a storm sewer, and then that went into a drainage ditch by San Ramon Road and Silvergate Boulevard, or Silvergate Drive, I guess it is. So, at any rate, those are the two events that have happened. We weren't able to capture either one of those and return them to the sewer because the one that happened yesterday actually occurred when it was raining. Normally, when we have it overflow into a storm sewer, we would block the storm sewer and then try to collect all the water that we could. But with it raining, we weren't able to do that. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. We've reported the December 8th event. We also reported the one that happened yesterday, but I'll be doing a full formal letter to the regional board here in a couple of days.
From your experience, will there be any follow-up on these types of events, or are these more administrative in nature?
These are fairly small events that have happened. You know, it's always hard to say whether the regional board or the state board is going to take any enforcement action. They have been much more aggressive recently about sanitary sewer overflows, so it's in the realm of possibility that they might, but we'll just have to see.
And if there is any action on the December 8th event, would we have any recourse to the contractor?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on a lot of circumstances, but that would be the district is intent would be to recover all of that from the contractor.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any other reports?
Yeah, a few administrative things. As you know, we're going to begin the process of updating our strategic plan right after the first of the year. We'll have a sort of a kickoff presentation to the board on January 8th at that particular board meeting. If anybody wants to give me your thoughts as to what you think is important, etc., sort of as a preview for at least staff to start thinking about the development of that plan, I'd appreciate hearing from you if you can. The next thing you would note that Rodora Biogdan is sitting here at the dais in place of Dave Riegler, who's on vacation with his family, so welcome, Rodora. And thank you very much to Nancy and your staff for the very nice refreshments that accompanied the oath of office ceremony for the new directors. I understand some of that material is homemade, so my compliments to the chef for that. And finally, from myself and all the district staff, I'd like to wish you and your families a very Merry Christmas and best wishes for Happy New Year coming up. And finally, no correspondence to or from the board since my last board.
Before you move off that, are there any scheduling or administrative stuff we should know about around holidays, vis-a-vis the office? Or?
The office will be closed for business on Monday, December 24th and Monday, December 31st. It's not a district holiday, but this way we don't have to maintain coverage and people are free to take the time off without coverage issues with their family. A number of people will still be working for various reasons on those days as well.
Thank you very much. Okay, committee reports, none. Agenda management. From my perspective, straight through. The president may have another opinion, but I'm not going to manage the agenda at this point. All right, item 7, approval of minutes of the special meeting of December 3rd. Move for approval.
I have a correction.
Oh, okay.
Page 3, third paragraph up from the bottom, third line. Staff adjusted the bill to the maximum extent. And D needs to be a T.
I'll amend my motion to include that correction.
And then I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. How about a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, matter consent calendar items 8A through E. Does anybody want to pull anything? Not hearing that, before I entertain a motion, I would like to pull 8C. Do I have a motion for the remainder of the consent calendar?
I'm moving approval.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 8C. So 8, B and C work together. This is kind of what we do every year. We pre-approve compensation for meetings and whatnot in 8B. then 8C is for reimbursements for travel and expenses. My concern is the list on 8C, so the list of expense reimbursables is for a larger number of items than for 8B. 8B is the stuff that we're allowed to be compensated for. It's, doing the business of the district. And I'm just concerned that we totally should have our expenses reimbursed for doing business of the district. The other items like, Green and White Gala and EPI just don't seem to fall in that category for me. So I'll make a motion, and see if anybody salutes.
Well, let me clarify, let me make sure I understand. This is expenses, but not a day of...
Right. Day of service is 8B.
That's all.
That's mostly governed by California State Code. And then C is expenses, which covers everything in 8B. So it covers anything with the day of service, and then plus some other items.
Plus these two.
To be very precise, the first 2 bullet points on 8C address everything in 8B that's a day of service. The following 5 bullet points are special. In other words, for those events, you would not get compensated a day of service for participating in those, but your expenses, whether it be paying for a lunch or whatever, would be reimbursed.
So that's why I pulled it. I'll make a motion, see if we get a discussion, and we'll see where it goes. So I would like to move that we approve item 8C, which is the director reimbursements for travel and meetings for 2013, to include only the first 2 bullet points in the schedule on the recommendation.
And the last? Not the last bullet point?
I've made my motion. Do we have a second?
I'm agreeable with that. I'll second the motion for the sake of conversation.
All right, how about some discussion? Then we'll see where this goes.
I think last year, go ahead.
I don't have any problem with the first, with Dublin Sister City Partners in Education in the Valley County. That other one. That other city that Roz keeps reminding us about. But I think the last one is important.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, and
I just think they're important. I think it's important to continue to go to other agencies, swearing-ins or receptions to make ourselves, introduce ourselves. I just think that's vitally important.
do you think it's vitally important for the district or
For the district.
the political care and feeding of the individual director?
No, for the district. Believe me, this particular director has no other political aspirations.
I'll second that part of it.
That's not a motion.
I have a question. The Dublin and San Ramon Chamber of Commerce monthly lunch meetings, I think we usually just go to I think there's, the luncheon where all 5 mayors.
Our interpretation, Director Benson, would be that meeting is a meeting of the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, so that would fall, that we've interpreted that meeting that you're referring to fall within the purview of that third bullet point. Because it's a meeting of both chambers.
Yeah, right.
Let's see.
And the chamber meeting, to me, carries the same weight as this last one, retirement events, elected officials, local agencies, etc.
Yeah.
Depends on where you want to draw the line in the sand.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have different perspectives on that, and,
Yes.
I'm fine with removing Dublin Sister City, Dublin Partners in Education, San Ramon Valley. I'm fine with that.
And I'm fine with it too.
well, in the spirit of
The last one I was indifferent on. So
in the spirit of the holiday
I just
season
don't go.
and wanting to further the business of the district, I will amend or change, or what's the right legal word?
Substitute or
So
change.
it could be a substitute motion or an amended motion.
I'm going to amend my motion to include, and I'll make this explicit just so it makes sense. Everything associated with days of service, that'd be the first 2 bullet points, the Chamber of Commerce monthly meetings, and the last bullet point involving dealing with the other districts and their swearing-ins and swearing-out ceremonies.
And
Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. I will call the ball. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Okay, now with that, I'm sure we're going to really want to deal with 9A.
Maybe you can lose than anything. I don't think
We never recognize you, so you can't submit a motion.
Georgine, that's been long enough. Once I pass this gavel, you guys won't hear from me for another meeting or two. So. All right, 9A. How do we do this, Bert?
You run the first motion for the election of the president, and then the new president will that person will be running the second.
So, folks, it's been a slice of heaven, but we do need a new president per board bylaws and guidelines. Do I have a motion for a nomination for president?
I would like to make a motion that we approve Don Benson as our new president.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, none opposed. There you go.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Do you want to finish that? I'm going to finish that.
Go ahead.
All right, we have a motion for vice president.
A motion. I would like to nominate Georgine Von Heater-Leopold.
Yeah, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Now you, there we go.
Now it's yours.
Oh, boy.
You want to see how well you were paying attention?
Yeah, I know, that's exactly what I was just thinking. Okay, so now we will proceed with agenda item 9A, 9B.
Yes, President Benson, congratulations, and I'm honored to be the first person to so address you.
Thank you, Mr. Helser.
Item 9B has been on the board agenda, as you know, for the past 2 meetings. This is the appeal of a water bill to the Little Kids Learning Center. The owner is Mrs. Lariba Na. The board directed us to place the item on this board agenda for determination and by the board. Subsequent to the posting of the agenda, we received word from Mrs. Na that she would be unable to make this particular meeting, and she's requested further delay to the next meeting, which would be January 8th, for this matter to continue. From staff's perspective, staff is, this bill dates back to the July time frame. We spent a lot of time dealing with this, and we don't need an answer today, but shortly staff would desire for the board to just tell us what your policy pleasure is and bring this matter to a close, one way or another. So I think the first thing you have to think about tonight is whether in fact you want to take up the matter. You're properly agendized to do so. If you want to take up the matter, we can sort of present the facts of the case and listen to your deliberations. If you choose to delay it, all you need to do is so direct us and we'll put it on the next agenda for you.
Okay, so with that, I need to make a motion.
Oh,
No,
you'd ask for-
discussion.
yeah, discussion.
Discussion.
Well, I hate for it to appear as if we're not willing to listen, but this is the 3rd meeting that our staff's gone through, agendizing it and preparing all the paperwork. And I think if nothing else, a letter could have been submitted. I mean, there were other ways to deal with it. I do have one question, though. How is the credit that our staff is allowed to get calculated?
I'd say there's some judgment. The first constraint is that for a commercial customer, we're not allowed to give a credit on any sewer charges related to the bill, even though the commercial customer is billed volumetrically for the sewer charge. But your policy doesn't allow staff to make that credit on the sewer side, so it's just limited to the water side. There's no formula or direct guidance. It's a best professional judgment kind of approach where we look at all the facts and exercise our judgment. The one threshold is that we have to feel that there has to be a leak that was, we have to have some evidence that there was a leak that was corrected. That's the threshold to get the staff for an adjustment. We feel in this case, given the facts, even though it's not been clear, that we can interpret it that there was a leak that was fixed. Then what we do is look at the past history, going back a certain number of months, whatever seems reasonable, arrive at a conclusion what the bill would have been in the absence of a leak, offer that as a proposed settlement. That's in fact what Vicki Goldman, who's in the audience today for another matter, had orchestrated with her staff. That offer was rejected, and Basically, that's why we're here today. Vicki, did I get that about right in general? I mean, you can get into the details.
Actually, the policy dictates.
But you have to go.
Actually, the policy dictates to us how we're to calculate the adjustment, and it's based on the historical consumption history on the customer's account. So we look at the last 2 years to see what their normal would be, and we calculate with the average and then compare it to what they used with the excessive consumption. The new policy document does not require that they've had a leak. It was revised last year, I believe, to state that it can be for any reason. They can have an excess water bill for any reason, and if they come to us and say that it used to require that they fixed a leak, and now it could be, well, I don't know why I had this high bill, but I can't afford to pay this. So we'll calculate what their average normal is, and then look at what the new one and what the difference. We basically split the difference with them. So in this case, her average normal was, I don't have the numbers in my head, but they're in the formula's actually in the packet, I believe. And we paid for half of the water lost, and she was asked to pay for half of the water lost. That's consistent with what we've done with every other customer in this situation.
You can find that on attachment H.
In fact, the policy, floor policy is actually attached.
But the calculations. So,
I'd like, well,
And Vicki, you know, unless I have an outdated version of the policy here, not to, I can sort of, start a debate between you and I, I'm reading from the policy. Non-residential accounts may only receive an adjustment related to leaks.
well, no worries. Reconnect yourself so that
Yeah.
it's clear.
Just for the record, just for the record.
I can find the policy in the packet.
Attachment.
Yeah, and even though that's a house, we consider that a commercial.
It's a commercial, it's treated as a commercial account.
They put money in that.
It says in the event of a leak.
The bottom bullet.
Oh, you're absolutely right, I apologize, yes. And this customer had indicated that she had toilets leaking to both our
That's why I said the
staff
evidence,
and
evidence.
Is it conceivable that just leaking toilets could have caused this big of an issue?
She has several toilets on the property. It's a daycare center. And she had indicated to us when she was speaking to our field staff and then later to our phone staff that she had, there's several older toilets and that my understanding was they were really trying to be diligent going in and actually turning them off after the children used them. So yeah, it is conceivable. And actually, when my first field staff went to reread the meter, because the meter reading was so high, we actually sent a representative back to the site to look at the meter, make sure that it was operating properly and the reading was correct, and the meter was spinning very fast.
And we actually, staff actually conducted a water audit and noted that they have, I think, a total of 8 toilets, and 50% of them were the older toilets, 3 gallons per flush.
so let's see if I get this right. If we went per policy, for staff policy, we would be forgiving $552.
So we did forgive that amount.
And staff has already exercised our authority. You're being asked to exercise the
That's
authority.
for additional.
For additional.
Well, I'd like to get this over with and done tonight. So I don't know if I need a motion for this, but I'd like to make a motion. I guess that's what it takes to deny any further reductions in the bill and direct staff to proceed to collect the bill according to standard procedures.
Yeah, that's a motion.
I'll second that.
So,
Any discussion? Yes, go ahead, discussion.
yeah,
Because I have some too, so.
you're allowed. Let's go last.
No, yeah, I know. And I'm happy.
guarantee that if we take an action denying it tonight, it will be on the January agenda anyway, because we'll get another appeal to the different manager. I just don't think we can resolve this without her in the room, or without a clear understanding, probably written from council, that X date, this is going to happen one way or the other. I think we're being strung along, but if we take action on it tonight, I don't think we will be resolved. And I want this resolved as anybody else is. That's one perspective. The other thing is, because the water leak policy kind of germinated on the residential side of our business, and we only very lately have added commercial to it, we never contemplated this kind of way that the water leak plays with the sewer bill. And someplace in here is the actual sewer bill, and that's what's actually driving, that's what's driving a big chunk of this. So it seems to me that if we could ever get the parties in the room, that there might be a resolution that involves a little relief on the sewer side, and then direct the appropriate committee to come up with a formal policy on how to do that for everybody else. There's a motion and a second on the floor, so that's my 2 cents.
And I've had direct contact with her, so, and I know that there's some other issues right now that she's dealing with, so, and that I'm on the fence too, in the sense of I would like to get this resolved, but I also agree with Rich that she really needs to be here. We need to listen to her and find out what her side is. So, and I think there will be an appeal to bring it forward in January. But I believe there's a possibility that if we, right now, collection's suspended, I believe, correct?
We're administratively suspending the collection procedure pending resolution of the current appeal.
So is it possible tonight for us to resume collection if we move this item to January, the first meeting in January, and resume collection after the first of the year?
I mean, what you're asking is if you could start the collection process immediately after the board acts at the next board meeting. Is that what you're suggesting, or I'm just?
What we would do is, if the board directed us to carry this forward to January, we would consider the current appeal to still be alive, so we would not start collection. If you made a decision tonight, whatever that decision is, we would immediately start the collection procedure, which would be kind of, and Vicki can explain what the procedure is on that for you. It takes a number of days. It's not like you could get to a shut-off the very next day, but we would put it in our normal queue. If you
the first thing we would try to do is that if you were, for instance, to decide to give her any other kind of credit, we would let her know that that action's been taken and what's been done to the account with the outstanding balances, and we try to work out a payment arrangement with her. And whatever was comfortable for her to do, she's continued to pay her normal bill to keep the normal bill payment current. So it's just the $568 that's been outstanding since the summer that she would need to catch up on, or any amount of that that's left after your decision. And then we could set up a payment arrangement. She would pay it over a number of months if that was easier for her.
I just like to go back to, what would happen in Ms. Naw's absence tonight if you rendered a decision. From our perspective, the appeal would be resolved. The board has complete authority to resolve that appeal, and it in fact would be. From that point forward, I'm not sure how she can appeal back to the board who rendered the decision. She could, of course, speak under public comment at any point she wanted. I think she would need to speak with her legal counsel at that point, because then her recourse would be through the legal system.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like the administrative, the collection process has been suspended pending the board's action. If the board chose to defer the action until the next board meeting, say, you could specify that the direction is collection process will begin as of the conclusion of that board meeting, unless the board directs otherwise, I suppose.
You could do that.
I mean, because it is within the purview of the board to decide.
Right now, it's on indefinite suspension until the board renders a decision. You could direct staff to start the collection process one way or another until certain, regardless of what her decision is. That's another course of action.
being the new person on the block,
Welcome.
I'm right in there.
thanks for my first meeting, right? In reading the staff's report, I think there's a couple of things I would be concerned about. Number one, I think it's dragged on too long. When you start talking about outstanding bills that are 6 months old, that's not a good way to do business. Number two, if the staff had not done such a thorough job, according to what I've read, about documenting the accuracy of the meter and the water flow and the leaks, everything, I think we as the district have done everything that could be humanly expected and treating a customer fairly. The environment out there right now for political purposes is that, it's the big bad agency and the taxpayer, but by the same token, we've offered a credit. And if we just roll over, we're setting a precedent. And other people will start doing that too. I think this thing needs to come to a head, and she's going to appeal anyway, I think, one way or another, whether legally or incorrectly, she's going to come back at us anyway. So I think we need to take action on it.
Okay. So do I hear a motion on what? Okay, motion's on the table.
We have a motion on the table. And a second.
And a second. So the motion would be?
I believe the motion was to deny, in effect, to deny the appeal. You didn't say that it was.
No, he said.
Okay.
Deny the appeal and order staff to collect
Okay.
the normal procedure.
And with no additional credit.
Correct.
Call for the question.
Call
Okay, I'll call for the. Okay. Call for the vote. All those in favor, excuse me.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
One opposed?
Unopposed.
One opposed, okay.
No is opposed.
Okay, so moved, 4-1. Thank you, staff, for all the time that you put into this. I know it's been a long process, so thank you so much. And next, let's see here. Next on the agenda is customer insurance program for sewer laterals and water service lines. Yeah, let's see here. And Lori Rose is going to be giving the staff report.
Thank you, President Bensy, and members of the board. This is a program that staff has been investigating, and we asked the consultant to come and give you a brief presentation. There's a nice handout that they've provided for you in front of you, and it's also in the board packet for anyone that would like to follow along. Vicki Goldman, our customer services supervisor, has been working very hard on this, and I'd like her to introduce our guests, please.
Thank you, President Benson, and members of the board. I'd like to introduce you to Larry Byrne, Director of Business Development, and Peter Buttrick, Chief Business Development Officer for HomeServe USA. The board has been provided with information regarding the services offered by HomeServe, and they requested the opportunity to meet you and to do a short presentation introducing the service products they hope to offer to our district's customers.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Happy holidays, and appreciate it. HomeServe USA has been in the business of providing these warranty programs with private water and sewer lines for about 20 years. We've been in the U.S. for roughly half 10, and over the past 5 or 6 years, we've seen enormous growth in our business. To the point where we are right now, where we have roughly about 1.5 million customers, representing close to 2 million policies on a national basis. In the Northern California market, we've seen quite a growth of our business with some of the neighboring water districts, including Alameda Water District, Contra Costa Water District. We've recently signed West Bay Municipal Sewer District, as well as Cal Water and PG&E and Southern California Gas as well on the energy side. To kind of put this into context, the reason why these programs have been so successful, and if you look at the second slide in your board pack, the second and third slide, is that, number one, a lot of consumers out there can plan for a lot of things. They can plan for the cost of their car repairs or other things, but when a major home emergency occurs, whether that's the water line or the sewer line, it's a considerable expense. They can budget for $499 a month, but when their water line breaks and it's $3,000, or their sewer line breaks and it's $6,000, $7,000, they can't budget for that. Some people can, but a lot of people can't. And based on some of the take-ups that we see in our business, roughly, you'll get 30 to 40% participation in these types of programs. So what we're proposing to work with the Dublin-San Ramon Water District is to provide your customers with a solution so that if their water or sewer line breaks, they will have a solution. They'll have local-based contractors that will go out and do the work. They'll have no out-of-pocket expense, and their water or their sewer line will either be repaired or replaced. And we see these programs are very effective at increasing customer satisfaction, because the majority of consumers, when a water or sewer line does break, the first place that they contact is their local water or sewer agency. And when they find out that it is their responsibility and that the cost is theirs to bear alone, there can be some dissatisfaction once they find out that they have to incur that cost. So a number of municipalities and water districts that we work with, they look at this as a way to improve customer satisfaction and provide those customers with a solution to their problems. So that's kind of the program in a nutshell. We, as an organization, dispatch contractors every 2 minutes of every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We're very well versed in the business, obviously being in this business as long as we have been, and it would be an honor to work with an organization such as yourselves. So with that, I think most of the rest of the information is in the board pack, but I'd like to open it up to questions. I'm sure you all have questions.
Questions?
See, I understand that this is, the district would make knowledge of this on our website.
There would be a marketing plan that would be closely worked out between HomeServe and the district to, we would approve all the marketing materials that would go out. So the advantage of that, of course, is that then you're not getting calls from customers saying, well, what is this? Is this a scam? You have the marketing materials. We are able to put, our personal touches on them. And then the insurance is actually purchased directly from HomeServe. We don't get involved in the collection of that. But by working with them in partnership to do the marketing, it's better for us because our customers are aware of what's going on, and we are knowledgeable about what is happening as well, as opposed they could actually market this on their own. There's nothing that doesn't allow them to do that. But we've found that the participation rate and the satisfaction from both the agency and the customers is much higher when you have a partnership arrangement. There is some financial incentive for the district to participate as well. The details of that would be worked out if the board directed us to continue to work with them to put this program together to offer our customers.
Yeah, see, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, for one thing, it's just letting the customers know who owns what. That alone.
And that's a great point, because in a number of the relationships that we have, if you look at some of the marketing materials that we have with Alameda County Water District and Contra Costa, the marketing materials presented to the consumer is probably you could almost look at it on like a public service announcement, because it's not a fully endorsed program. This is information we think that you may see as valuable It's up to you, Mr. Homeowner, to enroll in this or not. It's it's entirely optional. So I think, and Lori brings up a good point. You folks have all the control over the marketing materials, how it looks, how it smells, how it feels. Whether you want it on the website or if you want us to do a direct mail piece, we cover all the entire cost of any of the marketing program.
Sounds like a good
Yes, please. Well, some of you may or may not know, I've been kind of spearheading something like this. I hadn't ever thought of insurance. I was looking at maybe low-cost loans from the district because we have a serious problem here. And I see it's as is, you take them as is. We have an older part of town that probably has 99% of tree roots in them, and Lord knows if they're even getting to the main pipe in the street.
I didn't just hear that. No, but that's a good point. We do no pre-inspections. We take the only caveat to that is there's a 30-day wait period. So if somebody enrolls and we will. I'll tell you at Alameda County Water District, the very first postcard we sent it typically a pre-mailing. On the 31st day, somebody made a claim, and we covered a $7,000 job on the very.
That's what's always frightened me about, especially the lower part of town, where it's mostly clay. Those pipes are 50, 60 years old by now, and most of the homeowners don't even realize it's there, let alone who owns it. So I think this has great potential to finally address the problem that I have been complaining about for years. Just so there's a way, because you're obviously you're correct. People do not have that kind of money set aside, and we have a lot of fixed income people in the older sections of town.
And I think this is not for everyone. You can choose to basically, to take the insurance policy or not. And some people are more insurance minded, others are not. And it's up to them to make the decision on whether or not they want to participate in the program or not. But I think just making the information available, at least based on our research, customers have a better perception knowing that if there is a solution out there, that you've provided them with the information on that solution.
Director Dorsey?
I like the idea. I think one of the concerns I would have is how effective is your pre-screening on the contractors, because that's the image that customer is going to see if somebody slips through the radar. I've served on the advisory board to the state license board, and I can tell you, in California, it's way too easy to get a contract.
We do. So there's a couple of things, and I'm very thankful you asked the question. We have an extensive screening process for all the locally based contractors. We do background checks, drug screening. We go out and we do site inspections if they're working for going out. We meet with them, and we also have a local area network manager that basically polices the contractor groups and does inspections pre and post work. So we make sure that these are good quality contractors. And it's important for us because we manage to a 97% customer satisfaction rate. So after every job is complete, we do a 48-hour callback and make sure that the customer has been happy and that they're happy with the contractor and the work that was performed. And so contractors will continuously try and improve, because the better scores that they get, the more work orders that we'll send to them.
So are you an insurance company?
In California, we're an insurance company.
So if I go to the Department of Insurance, I'll find you there.
Exactly.
Because
Yep.
that's the concept. I'm certainly okay moving forward and getting this thing fleshed out. But my concern is, I'm looking at some of the staff information, and 10% penetration into contract cost of water, might be a good number financially, but that doesn't that kind of penetration rate doesn't solve our problem, because the odds of having what really is, it's catastrophic to a homeowner, but what is really a very infrequent thing happen. The laterals and mains don't go very often. To have that happen, and to have it happen at a customer who happened to be one of the 10%, that's a pretty small part of the Venn diagram. And so I might want to hear more about adoption rate. How many people are actually taking a service in an organization like ours? Because if the adoption rate is low, it doesn't help you financially. It doesn't help us, because the odds of getting somebody that both have an infrequent problem and be one of your customers is going to be rare.
It's based on the frequency of the number. So in California alone, in 2011, we did 120,000 repairs. Just no, that's not correct. We have 120,000 customers, and I believe 35,000 repairs. Some of our, so in terms of adoption rates, if you look at some of the other organizations, so Cal Water, for example, we have roughly a 30% market penetration rate. Louisville Water, which is, we've been in business with them had a relationship with them for about 4 years. We have a 40% penetration rate. So it really depends on the customers. It depends on a lot of variables, and also, I think, to your point, older homes with an older infrastructure, you're going to see breaks much more frequently. And those customers, and I'll be honest with you, when I lived in Vermont for a number of years, my neighbor had the issue happen, and it was a huge issue. Then his neighbor, the guy next door, and once that happens, it's everybody starts realizing it's their responsibility, and they want to have some type of a solution. So in older areas, everybody knows that at some point there's going to be a breakage. In newer communities, it's not an issue. But
I wanted to say also, Director Holcott, that CCWD, that 10% is performance is just in August of 2011. So it's a pretty new program for them. They expect it to increase. When I spoke to them, they were very encouraged by it. They're expecting it to increase.
well, thank you.
And how long has ACWD been on board?
Since I believe, since July.
How do you monitor the contractor's insurance program? Liability, workers' comp?
We annually, they have to, basically every year, we go back in and we check all their licensing, all their insurance requirements to make sure that they're up to date.
So would the district be named as additional insured?
With the contractor, no.
So if that contractor is out there doing a repair and he damages a car, or the little child comes out and falls in the ditch,
We indemnify.
you indemnify the district on that.
Okay. Well, I have a question real quick. And what is as these insurance policies go out, what is the long-term, what happens if the company goes under, and what happens to, just in, business is business these days.
Right.
And what is the responsibility that you have for people that are, that you're going to stay insured? Things happen.
Yep. We have a financial backstop through AmTrust National, which is, for all intents and purposes, a reinsurance company that provides an additional layer of financial security. And HomeServe USA is a division of HomeServe PLC, which is a FTSE 250 company.
Where's I was going to say it's foreign.
Where's home base?
Yeah, where is home base?
Stamford, Connecticut.
Is that worldwide, or is that just U.S.?
That's U.S.
Where's home base, as in the
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Worldwide is in lovely Walsall, the UK, which is about 2 hours north of London.
Nice.
Yeah. The home
So
of Boy
that's
George, just in case you're asking. Believe me, it's not a stat that I really wanted to know.
All right, I think we owe it to our customers to let staff go ahead because this provides, we're like giving them something that might help them. If this all pans out to be something we're satisfied with, we're offering them a service that, believe me, if they have to replace that sewer line, they're gonna love. So I'd like to see our staff go ahead with digging up the details.
Well, I've had a friend recently who just retired, and she had her sewer line blown up and was atrociously quoted from a contractor, and then we stopped it and got another a good contractor friend of ours to do it. So I saw a drastic $10,000, $12,000 difference from what was quoted by an irresponsible contractor.
Yeah.
So I understand this program, but the question is just how much liability the district is going to get. It's I think it's a great program. I understand it, but I'm just a little concerned as how the district's going to be looked at as being promoting this program, and if we get financial support of it, and this is just my thought. I mean, how is that going to be construed to the ratepayers?
That's why they indemnify us.
Okay.
Yep, and so, and it's all from a liability standpoint. It's all in the messaging and how you structure kind of the messaging to the consumer. But what other districts, and certainly I'm not going to tell you what you would do with the revenue implications. But what other districts have done have been to put it in a low-income fund. They've done other types of remediation types of things. Just from a perception standpoint.
Yeah, just to point out that this would be a source of revenue that would not be tied to rates. And so again, it does give you some flexibility to utilize those funds in a different way than you have constraints on some of the other revenue sources.
Okay.
This reminds me a lot of like the home warranty policies. When they first started, everybody thought they were, oh my God. And we carried ours for 15 years.
Until, and it's for a point of clarification, the difference is, you're not spending $400 a year and you have out-of-pocket expenses and deductibles and everything else. With any of our programs, there are no deductibles, no call-out fees, no nothing. So if we're dispatching a contractor, maybe multiple, let's say if it's multiple times, there's never going to be a call-out fee. No extra or added hidden costs.
No pre-inspection.
No pre-inspections.
Okay. Okay, I would like to, now we have a card. And Ms. Bronze-Rogoff, would you like to have a few minutes?
Yeah. I'm probably, I don't know if I'm the only one here that's actually
We need to go to the mic.
Has a sewer line. But I have some questions, but I'm very interested in this. I think this is a great idea, and I'd really like to have it, and the gentleman here maybe can answer. Will the rates depend on the age of the property? My property is 40 years old, so it's kind of in a risk zone right now. But yeah, I would certainly be interested in having this. That's why I stuck around. So I hope that has an influence anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The simple answer is no. Our rates are regulated by the California Insurance Commission. So and that's our policy worldwide. Is we have no pre-inspections. It's the price of what it's not going to vary depending on the age of the home or the infrastructure or anything else. And in fact, in other areas we have to cut sidewalks or put in different materials, copper for example, and it's all of those things are factored into when we establish what the rates are.
Is something like this offered in a homeowner's policy?
No, it's not. That's a great question. A lot of people think after the second call that they make, after they find out that it's not covered, that the water companies is to their homeowners policy, and they find out that that's not covered either.
Also, one question, what about catastrophic? We have earthquakes around here, so things like that happen.
So in the terms and conditions, and you can thank the lovely folks at Contra Costa Water District, it covers earth shifting. So there's a lot of variance, and we do a lot of business in California with Cal Water and things. To my knowledge, we've never denied a claim because of earthquakes or things like that. However, there is an exclusion for acts of God. But earth shifting, last I seen, that would seem to cover a lot of earthquakes or earth shifting events.
Great. I think it's a great program because I live in Old Home too.
I just have one little quick question. It covers from the middle of the street where the sewer main is, and then goes up to the edge of the house.
That's correct. That's correct. So, I mean, it varies by what the local code is. So it depends on what the customer is responsible for.
Yeah.
So,
and if I could, our code on the sewer side provides from the sewer in the street to the house, just as you described. On the water side of things, it's from the water meter to the house. So you're typically inside the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and of course, your owner is already responsible for inside the house. Mm-hmm. This would take it right at that edge.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah.
One more construction question.
Sure.
So we have standard details on the pipe and the fittings and everything that we would require our contractors to do for our infrastructure. Do you have your contractors stay in contact with the districts so that they're up to speed on what our physical requirements are?
Typically, that is one of the parameters. I mean, it's not a requirement, but a lot of so, for example, Alameda County Water District asks us to provide them with a daily list of who's going out because they want to know if there's a line break, so they can tell them what the specific construction codes are, what the materials that they need to be. So. That all of those details in terms of permitting and all the construction details can be worked out, and so we can comply with however you guys want us to do that.
And currently, Redora tells me that if you have construction on your lateral at home, even though it's your lateral, you need to get a construction permit from the district. And that work has to be done, per our standards with our pipe material.
That was my concern.
I think one of the other interesting, I mean, you guys know it better than I do, is one of the other trends that's going on is if you're going to buy or sell a piece of property, as you're looking around here, a lot of places are now requiring sewer lateral inspection. So having something like this, it could have other economic benefits.
Okay, so I entertain a motion.
We don't really need a motion. We're just looking for consensus and support that the staff is kind of heading in the right direction with this, and it certainly sounds like you think we are.
Yes.
So we'll keep working on it and work with the appropriate committee and bring it back to the board. And thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
so much.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Making sure my apps are paying their shoe.
Okay, so now we're on to 9D, standing committees of the board, count for the calendar year of 2013. That's my.
That is your item.
That is my item. What I did is I went ahead and worked with people's requests, and I hope that I put together a committee assignments that you folks seem to be happy with. Any questions?
It's good for me. I know it's tricky putting these together.
Well, you guys all made it work.
One piece to-
You guys all made it helpful for me, so that was.
So yeah, I'd like a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
And President Benson, before you move on to that, real quickly, given as you know, we have a short turnaround this year, the way the calendar falls. So we will be contacting you literally within the next day or two to identify what your availability is for committee schedules, what day of the week, etc. Because we'd like to get that tied down this week so we can hit the ground running come the first of the year with it. So pay attention to that email or phone call when it comes in.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, we will go to number 10, board member items. Submittal of written reports from travel and training attended by directors.
I have one of those.
Okay, you're up, Director Howard.
Let's see, I went to Aqua's meeting. What did I do with it? Anyway, I'll find it and turn it in to Nancy. Here it is. Let's see. As you know, I'm on the Energy Committee, so I did attend the Energy Committee meetings on the Tuesday of that week, and then Wednesday I attended general sessions. The Energy Committee meeting was interesting in that there's a ton of legislation going on having to do with energy and water. And there was one that I was really interested in, Senate Bill 594, which I thought at first was great, but it turns out it's not quite right. I was hoping it would allow us to produce more energy at the treatment plant and then use that meters and those credits out for water pumps and that sort of thing, but it doesn't go that far. But maybe someday, hopefully it will. I don't want to bore you with all the other details. I'll turn this all in. Let you all go about your business for this evening. Other than Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to everyone and your families. Be safe.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else?
I have one. Just a reminder that Alameda County Special Districts chapter is going to meet here on January 9th, the morning after our next meeting. I've asked Tim to come and do a welcome to the city, and because of school he can't be here till like 15, so Dawn and Bert, if you want to put on a little dog and pony show about the district.
We'll keep the group entertained.
Okay.
Entertained for a few one-line jokes.
Okay. So 8 o'clock here on January 9th.
Okay, 8 o'clock. Excellent. Anything, Director Duarte?
Well, it's been interesting. But I hope to be a contributing member to the board.
Well, welcome.
It takes
So
a
you're so
while to
happy.
get into the routine of things.
As you know, I'm very excited that Director Duarte is on the board and representing San Ramon. So that's a very, very wonderful thing to finally have a real San Ramon and Dublin group. Director Halpert. Now, I too would like to, at this point in presentation, I'd like to make a presentation to our outgoing president. Somebody who has certainly I have thoroughly enjoyed sitting next to you for the last year. You're not only entertaining, but you're insightful, you're dedicated. You definitely always give us a well-rounded opinion. And I think your years of service to this district are quite honored, and we cherish you as a board member. So at this point, I'd like to recognize you for your extraordinary service. Thank you. You have thank you so much. And I know both you and Georgine will guide me through this whole presidential process. So I appreciate everybody's thoughts and kind wishes. And we appreciate your service, so thank you, sir.
I really apologize that staff has left with official photographer. I am willing to take it with my iPhone.
Be creative. We do.
Transfer of
Yeah.
Maybe you should take it with Richard's phone too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay, moving right along. Do we need closed session?
I don't
I
think
think
we
that's-
do.
Staff.
Matter's been resolved.
Okay. And report, see. And at this time, anybody else having, I wish the staff an extraordinary, wonderful holiday season. And anybody else have anything to say? Okay. Well, welcome, Ed, once again. Thank you all for all your hard work. And I'd like to thank staff, Nancy's staff, for putting on such a great presentation and doing a great job with your swearing in. And with that, I bid you all a fabulous holiday season.
I was one of the guys that I'm eager to contrast the largest relative dynamic right now. I was worried about things like that. There were arguments like what standards should be used to replace landscaping. Okay, according to the standard of care of a plumbing